may be seated. Adonai roi lo echsa bin ode sheyar bitzeni al mei menuchot al mei menuchot nafshi shovi yancheni v'magalei tzedek yancheni v'magalei tzedek liman shemo gan kilich begitz al mavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha ubishantecha hema yenachamuni taruch lifanai shulchan neged zorerai dishanta bashemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov chesed irdefuni koyemei chayai vishavti bevit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai roi lo echsa Adonai roi lo echsa. The words of the 23rd Psalm. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. We remember Jerry Stoller and join our hearts together to give comfort and strength to his family and to his extended family. Mourning is a time filled with many emotions and memories, both bitter and sweet. And we begin our service today with the recitation of psalms and prayers, linking Jerry's life with the millennia-old tradition of the people Israel and the eternity of God. Our rabbis taught that there are 3 crowns: the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But they emphasized that the crown of a good name excels them all. The book of Ecclesiastes says, "A good name is to be treasured above precious oil. Wealth, health, even life passes away, but a good name lives forever." It is this view that the Talmud teaches. Monuments need not be erected for the righteous. Their deeds are their memorials. They will be remembered and revered for the kindness they have shown and for the love they have given. They are shining examples, and he was a shining example of what it means to be a mensch. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched.
The
I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming, now and forever. And the modern poet wrote, birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, from birth to death to life everlasting. We read in the book of Kohelet, there is a time for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time for being born and a time for dying, a time for planting and a time for uprooting the planted, a time for destroying and a time for healing, a time for tearing down and a time for building up, a time for weeping and a time for laughing, a time for wailing and a time for dancing, a time for throwing stones and a time for gathering stones, a time for embracing and a time from refraining from embraces, a time for seeking, a time for losing, a time for keeping, a time for discarding, a time for tearing and a time for sowing, a time for silence and a time for speaking. And they say this is the time for speaking, though I cannot imagine a more difficult time to speak. And yet it speaks so much to the love that this community has for Jerry that many people wanted to speak and give him honor. And so we're going to let just a few represent the very many. And I invite up first his daughter, Karen.
My dad and I shared a love-hate with public speaking. So this one's for you, Dad. Our dad was, simply put, one of the kindest humans on the planet. To know him was to be loved by him. He had a profound ability to see everyone as an individual and treat them with the utmost respect and kindness. He showed us that love had no bounds, and he lived that truth daily. He has left an incredible legacy and imprint on this world, and you, this crowd, are living proof of that. I know this support would have overwhelmed him, but he would have secretly loved every moment of it. The days following this service, he'd still be gushing in disbelief about how lucky we are. I can hear him saying now, "Kara, can you believe it? People really showed up." And showed up you have, in more ways than we can have ever imagined. Thank you for honoring him by being here, near and far, the calls, the messages, reaching out. Dad, thank you for showing us how to love. Thank you for the quiet, constant grace you brought to every situation. Jackson, your best buddy, will miss you dearly, but he will always know the greatest man that ever lived, and he will follow in your footsteps. We promise to keep your memory alive in every hug, in every word, every kind word, and in every moment of absolute joy. In his honor, we have one request of you. Please lead with compassion, and in the coming days, do at least one unexpected act of kindness in his memory. Let his legacy of unbound love spread just a little bit further. Dad, on behalf of all of us, we love you. Thank you. XOXO.
Laura Metz.
It is with deep sadness and with great love that I stand before you today. How do you begin to honor a man like Jerry? Do you call him a devoted son, brother, husband, father, mentor, therapist, educator? He was all of those things and so much more. His dedication to family and friends, his unwavering values, his compassion, kindness, and constant desire to make life better for others were truly exceptional. I met Jerry about 56 years ago when my sister Phyllis brought home this cute, charming young man she couldn't stop smiling about. As their love grew, so did our family's love for Jerry grow. When they married, I didn't just gain a brother-in-law, our family gained a gift. Together, Jerry and Phyllis created a beautiful life filled with partnership, loyalty, and love. They blessed our family with 3 wonderful daughters, Ellen, Karen, and Lauren. Today, these 3 strong, kind, and hardworking women are living out the morals and values they learned from the examples of each one of their parents. And Jerry's heart continued to grow with every new addition to the family. Lauren brought Robbie into their lives. He became a devoted son to Jerry, always there to help in any way he could. Karen gifted Jerry with Jackson, and from that moment on, Jackson became the absolute apple of his eye. In our weekly conversations, Jerry would always have a story to share about Jackson, his voice full of pride, joy, awe, and endless love. Last week, when I spoke with Jerry, he was in the hospital. And although he was very weak, he kept trying to reassure me not to worry about him. He said he was receiving excellent care and that he expected to be home soon. And I believe Jerry is home, just not the home I thought he would be in. I believe that he is holding hands with Phyllis somewheres up above us, maybe above the clouds. And just the 2 of them are smiling down on us today. Jerry, I know I speak for Barbara and Lenny when I say we thank you for your goodness, your compassion, your love, and the example that you brought into our lives and our family lives. We will miss you.
Ann Ostroff.
Wow, there are so many people here and so much emotion. We can see that Jerry has had a tremendous impact on so many people. My name is Ann Ostroff, and I'm honored to be here speaking about Jerry, with whom I had a long and strong professional relationship and a close friendship. For over 30 years, I worked as a psychologist in his division of clinical and educational services at Juanio, where he was my supervisor and mentor. I remember the first day Jerry arrived at Juanio. Jerry Stoller's coming. This was the buzz at Juanio. Jerry Stoller's coming. Jerry Stoller's coming. Jerry Stoller's coming. Everybody was so excited that Jerry Stoller was coming. He was already a legend when he arrived, a physical therapist par excellence, pioneer and leader in the disabilities area, active on the state level of CP organization, and a national and international speaker. At Juanio, he continued to become even more legendary and to enhance Juanio and us all. He was an innovative, creative therapist, a master supporter of families, and a gifted nurturer of staff. He was truly a people person, He was a supporter of families, a gifted nurturer of staff, and a creative, innovative therapist. As this people person, he was naturally warm, a wonderful communicator, and an excellent listener. Again and again, I saw how inspirational he was to consumers, families, staff, and community. His impact was particularly strong on families. His personalized state-of-the-art therapy and caring manner almost immediately helped them feel they had an understanding and highly knowledgeable ally in facing challenges. It was not unusual for him to continue to provide support for years and to become like family to many, many of whom are here right now. Whether I saw him playfully helping young children meet their goals, supporting families and staff, or addressing a spellbound conference, Jerry was always extraordinary. As a friend, Jerry was a treasure. My husband Lee and I were fortunate to form a wonderful relationship with him and his beloved Phyllis. We saw what loving and devoted parents they were to Ellen, Karen, and Lauren, and they also had a very special relationship with their son-in-law, Rob. After Phyllis's passing, he continued to be an exceptional parent, regularly in communication with his kids and caring deeply about each of them. As Laura said, Jackson was the apple of his eye. They adored each other and spent quality time together. Jerry's face lit up when he spoke about Jackson. They adored each other, and this was evident to both of them. As the years passed, we became closer to Jerry and family. After we moved, we continued to stay in touch regularly. We traveled together, and he visited us a number of times. He was a wonderful guest. He was a great conversationalist and a very dear friend. Quite a special guy. Jerry, you will be missed, but we are left with vivid memories of time spent together, the stories you told us, and your overwhelming kindness and generosity. May your memory be for a blessing, my dear friend.
Ellie Salmon.
I am speaking on behalf of my family and thousands of others walking in our shoes that look to this kind, sweet, funny man who had such a positive impact on our lives. By the turnout today and the outpouring of support, it's difficult to speak briefly about such an influential man. When my husband Dan and I first went to Juanio in February 1983, we were advised to also seek additional physical therapy for our son, Scotty. The staff gave us a few people to call. I contacted my cousin in Connecticut, an occupational therapist, and mentioned the people on the list. She said, "Don't bother calling Jerry Stoller. He will never come. He's too busy teaching everyone in the Northeast how to become a better therapist." Needless to say, he thankfully agreed to come and evaluate Scotty. The following week, he came to the house. Not knowing anything about physical therapy, I was waiting for a 6-foot, 3-inch decathlon participant. I opened the door, and there was Jerry. Within 10 minutes, I knew that Jerry was going to make a difference in our son's life. I could see so clearly he had magical hands. Over the next 42 years, he was our physical therapist, psychologist, confidant, and most importantly, our friend. Where would all of us be without Jerry in our lives? His impact upon us all was so profound, from physical therapy to orthotics, from accessible equipment to inclusion. Jerry was always there to listen and advise. When Scotty was in college in Edinburgh University outside of Erie, Pennsylvania, he had a tough first few weeks. He spoke to Jerry every Friday for the first semester. Jerry listened, cajoled, prodded, and encouraged him, convincing him that he could in fact succeed. We are only one chapter in the story of the life of this incredible man. A life well lived, someone who always wanted to help others. Many of you here today have similar stories to tell. Many people pass away, and people speak of how they will be missed and what an impact they had. But I can tell you, Jerry changed our life, and thousands more, and my family is forever indebted to Jerry for always being there for us. God bless you, Jerry Stoller. We will never forget you.
Joan Moore.
This is a letter to Jerry. Hi, Jerry. It's Joan. I'm just writing to reminisce on our remarkable careers and our long friendship. I remember the day you walked through the front doors of Juanio. So does a lot of people here. Your reputation preceded you, but who knew the impact you would make? The infant development program was somewhat small at the time, but with your guidance and knowledge, it grew to become one of the best in the county. You had the Midas touch. When you helped one of us with a child, you knew exactly where to put your hands and then made it look like it was our idea, allowing us to be the ones who looked good. You had a great listening ear, helping anyone and everyone to problem solve. And along with that, you had a great shoulder to cry on if one of us was having a rough day. And I use that shoulder a lot. Along with your Midas touch, you had a silver tongue. I remember prior to your arrival at Juanio, I attended a UCP conference at Kutcher's, where you gave a presentation with Leslie Faye Davis. That was the day I became one of your groupies. I could go on and on with all of the things you've taught me, but I also want to thank you for your warm friendship. You have never missed coming to Mark's and my art shows. Never have I missed your love for QVC, which has filled my kitchen. Drawers with knife sharpeners, steamers, storage containers, and every time I use them, I think of you. Our lunches together, mainly at City Line, usually lasting over 2 to 3 hours. We're filled with family conversations about your daughters, son-in-law, and grandson. I loved hearing all about their careers, their highs and lows, and your love of all of them. And none of it was better than watching Jackson grow up on your videos. Jerry, you are a true blue friend, a rock, a remarkable, humble human being. And I, Joan Maurer, along with many of your colleagues, families, recipients of your healing hands, your own family and friends, will think of you often and miss you profoundly. Thank you, Mr. Stoller, for being my friend. Oh, and P.S., I forgot to mention your tie collection. You were one sharp dude. Thank you.
This week, we read Parashat Vayeshev. In it, the Torah opens with a quiet but powerful phrase, Vayeshev Yaakov, and Jacob dwelled. It's a reminder that a life's greatness is often revealed in the way a person inhabits their place in the world, with presence, purpose, and a steady commitment to others. Some people dwell in a way that simply fills space, but some, the truly extraordinary ones, dwell in a way that transforms it. Jerry Staller was extraordinary. He didn't seek the spotlight or dramatic gestures. In fact, when given it, he usually tried to deflect the honor onto others. Jerry built greatness through decades of unwavering dedication, compassion, and vision. For over 30 years at Joannio, Jerry shaped the field of early intervention for children with cerebral palsy. As a physical therapist and later as director of education and physical services, he helped families find hope, helped children find strength and movement, and helped an entire community imagine new possibilities. His work didn't just transform how people moved, it transformed how they felt. And that impact extended far beyond the students he worked with and their families, because Jerry never limited himself to the boundaries of his job. Anyone who had a question or concern, even friends of his daughters whom he had never met, could get time on the phone with him, and he would help them with patience, compassion, and wisdom. But Jerry's impact wasn't only professional. He was beloved because of who he was every single day. A true neighborhood guy, someone who greeted everyone, who asked about your life and actually listened, who made time for people because kindness was simply how he moved through the world. Lauren commented, "I don't have to explain to people how he felt about them. He told them." Everybody was his friend. He was intelligent, savvy, generous with his time, and unfailingly warm. Rob said he was the king of kindness. With Jerry, people felt valued, they felt known, they felt comfort of someone who made them feel at ease. Jerry brought that kindness home to his daughters, pairing it with a fierce belief in their strength. One moment from Lauren's childhood captures this perfectly. When Lauren was a little girl, her teacher asked the children to come to school dressed as a former president of the United States. Lauren asked her father to borrow a shirt and tie. Jerry called the teacher to ask why it was, when there were so many brilliant and powerful women to be role models for his daughter, her only option was to borrow his clothes and dress like a man. And of course, he was known for his clothes, especially his ties. He prided himself on never wearing the same one twice, going to the mall every weekend to buy a new one. For his grandson Jackson, wearing a tie meant being grandpa. Jackson even has a stuffed bear from the Build-A-Bear workshop wearing a tie, and that one is Grandpa Jerry. Jerry met his beloved wife Phyllis when they were both in school. He was pursuing graduate studies in physical therapy while she was working towards her bachelor's. They met in a bookstore by the cookbook section. He had had his eye on her for a while before he finally introduced himself. It wasn't long after they met before they were engaged, and within a year and a half, in 1970, they married. When I met with him after Phyllis died, Jerry said that he was drawn to her sense of fun and joy and that she was adorable. He also said, and I quote, "I couldn't imagine a better marriage." They complemented one another. They shared friendships and interests, trips to Atlantic City, and of course their mutual love for food and family. Jerry and Phyllis were blessed with 3 wonderful daughters, Ellen, Karen, and Lauren. They learned so much from what their parents had to teach about kindness, compassion, and giving. His 3 girls were his everything until his world expanded to include his son-in-law, Rob, and Rob became like a son to him. When Rob and Lauren were just dating and Jerry hadn't even met him yet, Lauren called asking for help because Rob had food poisoning, and Jerry was there. And just as Jerry took care of Rob, later on, Rob took such loving and attentive care of Jerry. Later, Jerry's family expanded further with the birth of Karen's son, Jackson. When asked what comes to mind when he thinks of Grandpa, Jackson simply said, happy. Nothing filled his heart with joy like the prospect of seeing Grandpa, and I guarantee you that bliss was mutual. Jerry loved theater, especially musical theater. He loved music, cooking, and, as was mentioned, especially kitchen gadgets from QVC. Shopping, traveling, reading, and dancing. He had an insatiable curiosity, wit, and generosity beyond measure. Any person or organization that asked Jerry for money became a beneficiary of his generosity. He was a collector of things, experiences, songs, and of course, people. And so, like the quiet power of Vayeshev, Jerry reminds us that extraordinary lives are often built through daily acts of goodness, through genuine connection, through showing up for others again and again. Today, as we dwell together in memory and love, we honor a man whose presence elevated every space he entered, whose legacy will continue to shape this community for generations. At Phyllis and Jerry's wedding, they danced to the words of Fly Me to the Moon. The song says, fill my life with song and let me sing forevermore. After too long apart, his time has come to fly to the moon and dance forever with his beloved bride. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You and I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. We take a moment now for silent reflection, for memories, for thoughts, a moment of silence. Shiva will be observed at Lauren and Rob's house Tuesday, 12 to 5 and 7 to 9. Karen's house, Saturday, 4 to 9. Please rise for the memorial prayer. Im kiroshim u'tehorim kizohar rakia maziri et nishmat Yaakov ben Natan shalach le'olamo bol harachamim Yastirehu b'seiter kenafav לעולמים ויצרור בצרכים את נשמתו אדוני הוא נחלתו וינוח בשלום על משכבו ונאמר Amen. God of abundant mercy, God Most High, may the soul of our loved one, Jerry Stoller, who has gone into eternity, find the gift of perfect peace in your embrace, together with the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold him close to you forever, so that his soul may be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May he find a home with you, and may he rest in peace, as together we say, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are about to make our way to the place of Jerry's final rest, I do ask that if you are coming with us to the cemetery, we are going to process behind the family cars and behind Panther Neck. Please put on your hazards. We are going to make a nice, slow, and respectful way to the cemetery. If you are not joining us, I do ask that you take your cars and head out towards the back gate so we can avoid any traffic as we exit. And now, I do invite the family to come up with me. And anybody that the family has asked to come up to put a hand on Jerry's casket as we process out, and my gentlemen pallbearers. Please process after us as we exit, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Family.
us all.